TBC, what's the deal? So, one of the heavyweight fights that was saved from that PBC card in San Antonio tomorrow. Travis Kaufmann versus Chris Arreola. Now, if you would have asked me this a few years ago, I would have picked Chris Arreola hands down. But now I'm not really sure where Arreola's at in his career. His last fight was against Fred Cassie, a fight that I thought he lost at least 6 rounds to 4. It was a majority draw. Two judges had it 95-95, and another judge had it 96-94 for Fred Cassie. I thought Arreola lost that fight. I actually did a video after that fight because Arreola, that fight, for those of you who don't remember, was a fight for Arreola. He was going to be set up to fight Deontay Wilder had he beat Fred Cassie, and he lost to Fred Cassie. I believe that fight was in July, but he was due for a title shot had he beat Cassie. And he said after the fight that he does not deserve a title shot. He thought his performance was shit. Before that, he fought a guy named Curtis Harper, who I had never heard of, and he fought tooth and nail with the guy. Harper went down in round 1, but it was an exciting fight. But just, Harper came in very out of shape. Arreola came in out of shape. He was upward of 260 something pounds. From coming off of a fight, the second fight was Stavern when he weighed in at 239. And he showed a better performance in that Stavern second fight than he did in the first fight. He got back on track with the Seth Mitchell knockout in the first round. But Chris Arreola is up and down. But usually in these fights, he pulls these fights off. He did get the draw with Cassie, but I think Cassie is a better fighter than Travis Kaufmann. Kaufmann, the record is kind of, you can say that the record is kind of glossy. He's, 30 wins and 1 loss to 22 knockouts. I seen the weigh-in. Both guys are at 236.5. So for Chris Arreola, that is a good weight, being that he came in the Fred Cassie fight at 246. So he's, 10 pounds down. So let you know he's been in the gym since July. He's taking it serious. I'm going to pick Chris Arreola in this fight. Him and Travis Kaufmann, they used to spar with each other years ago, back when Arreola was, I believe he's like 23-0. There's a clip on YouTube. He was 23-0 and Kaufmann was 10-0, and they sparred with each other. Kaufman's also sparred with Hasim Rockman. He's been in there with guys like Chaz Witherspoon coming up. Early in Kaufman's career, I noticed that he would come in his fights between 220, 230-ish. And then the last 4 or 5 years, he comes in more, 230, between 230 and 240. But, I was just seeing some interviews earlier today. He seems very excited. He seems very confident in this fight. Both guys say that, they got better of each other in sparring. They had good sparring sessions. It wasn't just one guy beating the other guy down, being that they were both undefeated guys. You look at Kaufman's resume, you won't really recognize none of these guys unless you're really into the heavyweight division and some of these journeymen. I see that he fought Richard Carmack, and the only reason I know Richard Carmack is because I know that he just recently lost to Shannon Briggs in the first round, and Kaufmann was able to do the same thing that Briggs was, beat him in the first round. He's also beaten Stacy Frazier. I know Frazier because he's lost to Nagy Arreola, Trevor Bryant, and Twin Cities kid, from Minnesota, Aaron Gawilla Green, who was 16-0 with, I believe, 14 knockouts, a kid from here in Minnesota. So I know some of these journeymen. Vincent Thompson took him the distance. Vincent Thompson, I know, took Charles Martin to the distance too. Also, those are his only 2 losses. It took Kaufmann and Martin by decision. So I'm just, put it like this. I think Arreola has enough in his tank to beat Travis Kaufmann right now. It's the guys in the top 25, top 20, top 20 who I'm really worried about when it comes to Arreola. But I think he can beat Travis Kaufmann. I think his power is overrated. Another fight that I've seen 3 fights of Kaufman's. Charles Davis, I've seen a small clip that Tony Grano lost that was on Showbox, a very entertaining fight, a fight he was winning. And Grano, I believe it was the 4th round when Grano hit him low to break up the action because he was getting the best. Kaufmann was getting the best of him in flurries and he was hurting him. Grano got a little time. Then he hit, he hit Kaufmann low, so he got a little time. He got warning, got a little time. And then he came back out and spit his mouthpiece out, saved himself a little bit more time. Then he ends up stopping He ended up stopping Kaufmann in the fourth round. It was an interesting, I believe it was the fourth or fifth, but it was an interesting round. And also seeing Kaufmann versus Farrell, a dude named Farrell out of Chicago. Fought him on Showbox. Guy had one loss, but the dude was grossly out of shape. They say he was a decent amateur in the Chicagoland area, but he was grossly out of shape for that Kaufmann fight. A lot of you may look at Kaufman and say he's a glorified club fighter, but I think he's better than a club fighter. But I think he can give guys who are contenders, I think he give them a shot. I think he give them a good go and could possibly pull off an upset. But I'm gonna go with Chris Arreola in this fight just because. If I'm wrong, I just want to be wrong. But I don't think Kaufman has enough. You know, they have history, but I think Arreola can get him out of here. I think he hits harder, and Kaufman is there to be hit. He's not a magician in there with his defense. He is there to be hit. He does want to bang it out. He's a tough guy. Stays in shape. I believe this is his third or fourth fight this year. I'm gonna go with Chris Arreola. YTBC. I'm out.